Welcome everybody. Welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I am your host Sean, as always, and I told you guys when there's breaking news, when there's official announcements, I will be here to get your thoughts, to share my thoughts, to look at the fine details of everything involved, and just celebrate as a Manchester United fan community as our club is moving. Our club is in danger of becoming a well-run club again. So obviously, if you haven't seen the news, if you've been living under a rock, Manchester United has officially announced the signing of Leny Yoro from Lille. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm so excited. Before we do get stuck in, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. And go check me out on Twitter, MUFC versus everybody. Today, it's been on Twitter. It's mostly just been me giving it to Newcastle United fans and everybody, and ESPN and Sky for just the way they are still just so butthurt about their childhoods being ruined. But in any case, let's get stuck in on this one, guys. Yes, Manchester United, we kind of have known it for the last 48 hours or so. Obviously, we entered talks with Leny Yoro. We had that bid accepted the other week from Lille. And then we had that news yesterday that he was flying into Manchester for his medical, and it was announced today. 42 million pounds, 10 million in add-ons, which are based on trophies. So bringing it up to potentially just over 50 million pounds combined. Don't believe these 62 million, euros that everyone's throwing out there. It's funny. You never notice, it's always the certain media and the rivals who like to throw out not only the total combined package like they did with Rasmus Højlund, but they pick the currency that is the highest. They're the highest number, and it's just funny. It really is. Again, those add-ons could see us pay a little bit more in the long run, but again, those add-ons mean we won trophies, so no one's going to care. If at the end of the day we win the Premier League, we win Champions League, Europa League, or whatever, and we have to pay Lille an extra 10 million, is anyone really going to care? No, it's not. No, they're not. And honestly, this is one of the best deals in modern football right now for Leny Yoro. He's one of the top, young players in football, generational talent. I think he was he Liga's like under U23 or Young Player of the Year? I can't remember. Someone remind me. I know I did that video on the other day, but sometimes when I do the videos, it's kind of like cramming for a test for school. I remember it when I need to, and then it all just kind of gets pushed out right after the fact. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's not uncommon. So, Ali, why do we care about money? It's not my money. Yeah. I don't care about money necessarily. I've said that before. It's not my money. I think to the point where I care about the fact that we know that we're financially strapped. We're skint right now. We got a lot of FFP stuff, and we have a lot of priority positions. So I think to that extent, I will care about how much we spend on, like, talking about João Neves and some of the prices that were thrown about from Benfica. Like, is 100 million for João Neves a wise move when we only have a finite amount of funds and we have other positions to fill? That to the extent. What I mean when I'm talking about the fee right now is the fact that everybody, the media and rivals, like to report not only the combined total 52 million, but they like to report it in like euros, whatever the currency that makes it sound like we pay more. It's 42 million pounds, 10 million in add-ons. That is a bargain right now for Leny Yoro. And what's interesting too is remember that Lille are still right now currently in qualifying rounds for Champions League this summer. The Champions League qualifiers are going on. So there's a very good chance that Lille could also be in Champions League. Obviously, Real Madrid are in Champions League, PSG are in Champions League, Liverpool in Champions League. And so all that talk about not being able to draw players because of not being in Champions League, I mean, again, we've seen before that it doesn't necessarily make a difference. He turned down Champions League for Europa League to come to United. And so we must have done some really good convincing. Somebody put on their salesman hat and just talked to him. We'll talk a little bit about what that might have looked like today. We're also, there were reports coming out today that unlike Real Madrid, we were able to offer him minutes, first team minutes, starting 11 minutes. So if that is true as well, then it sounds like he's really meant to be our direct replacement for Varane, which is a big deal. I think that, because that a lot of pressure to put on him, is that a lot of faith? I think that represents, what we see in him, the potential, the talent that's already there as well. I think the ceiling for Leny Yoro is very high, and with the right development, with the right coaching, who knows what the limit could be for this kid. I've seen claims as far as convincing him from the Athletic reporting just a little bit ago that Rio Ferdinand had a big hand in convincing him. Obviously, Rio being a defender, being kind of compared to Euro in some outlets, in terms of play style and everything. And we know that Rio was kind of in the know when it comes to certain United things. He knew that Ronaldo was re-signing for us 2 seasons ago before everybody else did. So Euro, he's got his ear to the ground. He's grinding. He's working hard. He's still obviously a beloved former player, beloved legend of the club. If you remember, the first giveaway we did at the end of the season was a brand new Rio Ferdinand jersey from the 2009-2010 season. Tags, patches, everything that went out to Dylan, a subscriber. So big up on that. But Agent Rio, it's the Lord's work you're doing out here, sir. So thank you, my friend. Let's take a look at some of the official comments from the club. So I'm just going to shoot over to the website. Ali, if the owner clearly doesn't care, yeah, I mean, the owners have to care, Ali, just to a certain extent, obviously, because no matter how rich your owners are, FFP prevents you spending more than 100 million over 3 years or something, or 100 million loss or whatever. You can't just spend and spend and spend and spend unless you want to go through back channels and fake sponsorships like a certain other blue club in Manchester. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But rich owners are rich owners. Yes, they can do a lot in the infrastructure. They can do a lot to build academy and stadiums. They can spend a lot on players. They just can't spend, infinitely as much as they want to. So let's look at what the Manchester United official announcement and comments are. So Manchester United is pleased to confirm that Leny Yoro has joined the club subject to registration. The French defender has signed a contract till June 2029 with the option to extend for a further year. The age of 18, Yoro has already played 60 first-team games for Lille. Last season, named the League One team of the season. That's what I meant to say. He's a League One team of the season, and he helped them finish fourth in the league. So we have some comments here from Leny Yoro himself. He says, signing for a club with the stature and ambition of Manchester United so early in my career is an incredible honor. Since my first conversations with the club, they set out a clear plan for how I can develop in Manchester as part of this exciting project, and showed a lot of care for me and my family. That's a big deal. I think people fail to consider how important it is for club liaisons, assistants, whatever you want to call them, to meet these foreign players when they come, especially the young players, to go the extra mile, to find some homes, find some good restaurants, find some schools and things for the kids and the family that they might enjoy, to really ease that transition and make it very smooth. That's a big deal. We almost lost George Best when he came to the club, because he was this teenager from Ireland who showed up on a train and nobody was there to greet him. He almost turned around and left. And that's a big deal. I know Drogba's had some comments on that and too, just in terms of English clubs and things. So people need to remember that's a super, and I hope clubs can remember that too. And I think that sports psychologists and official club psychologists can play a role in that too, in helping people kind of deal with some of the transitional stuff, because major life transitions, whether it's going from single being married, whether going from high school to college, whatever, all of that stuff are big stressors. They can be. I've worked with a lot of clients who do that kind of phase of life transition stress, and anxiety that's involved with that. So it is a big deal. Yours continues, says, I know about the history of young players at Manchester United and feel it can be the perfect place to reach my potential and achieve my ambitions. Together with my new teammates, I cannot wait to get started. Got some comments here from Dan Ashworth as well. He's already just grinding, man. He's done more in a couple weeks than Woodward, Arnold, Murtaugh, the Glazers have done in a decade. And this guy is just, I don't have words. I'm just thankful that we've got a proper structure in place now. It's like I said yesterday, it's almost as if having that in place makes a difference, right? Who knew? So in any case, Dan Ashworth said, Manchester United sporting director said, Leny is one of the most exciting young defenders in world football. He possesses every attribute needed to develop into a top-class center back. Having had such an excellent start to his career, we are excited to support him in reaching his immense potential here at Manchester United. This club has a fantastic record of developing young players, whether homegrown or brought in from elsewhere, and giving them the required guidance, time, and patience to grow and flourish. Under Erik ten Hag and our excellent staff, we will ensure that Leny has the perfect platform to achieve success that everyone across the club is aiming for. So that is the official comments from the club, from the club's website. KD, my guy, get in, man. Let me know your thoughts. KD is excited. Everyone's getting it. Everyone's getting pumped. Not everyone's getting pumped though. The hate and the excuses and the deflection and the cognitive dissonance from the media, from rivals, has already started. And it's the usual suspects. So Sky Sports put out a tweet earlier, and the headline was for their article was 52 million pound fee and barely 60 games as a professional footballer. Why do Manchester United want 18-year-old French defender Leny Yoro? Pretty much the headline should have said, why do PSG, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Manchester United want? Why does everyone in world football want Leny Yoro? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. We just listed one. He was named the Ligue 1's team of the season last year. So, and then you got ESPN FC, specifically Julien Laurens, the French correspondent. They're getting in on it too, talking about how Madrid and PSG didn't want to pay more. There's a reason they didn't pay. Why do these guys not want to pay more, and why United? And they conveniently again mention the full price with the add-ons, as you know, the Abu's always going to do, like I said earlier. And we've even got some crazy claims from Spanish outlet Marca, who they claim that Lille threatened to not play Euro all year if he didn't accept United's offer. It's crazy, guys. I can't even handle that kind of stuff. KD says, I wonder if the speed of concluding this transfer is some kind of record for us. That's insane. I mean, I know we were talking to Joshua Zirkzee for a little while. He said before we made it official, he said it was already pretty much decided before he went to the Euros. I know the Donny Van de Beek one was pretty quick too. If you remember that one, that was done pretty quickly, pretty quietly too, and no one really saw that one coming. I was super pumped when that happened. Obviously, it didn't work out for him at United, which is really too bad because I do think he's such a good footballer. But it is what it is. But you're right. We're getting things done. I remember a couple weeks ago, I think it was either Ben Jacobs or Mark Ogden. I don't remember who. They were reporting that United wanted to get at least 2 of these first team signings done before the major U.S. tour, and we're going to be doing like around $100 million deal, which is exactly what we did. So true to that. If you also noticed too that FSG out was trending on Twitter earlier today. Oh man, what up, Danny? Danny B is in the house. Big up, guys. So FSG out was trending from these Liverpool plans. The Anfield agenda was getting real bitter about his owners, which actually will bring us to our official sponsor for today's video, Scouse Tears energy drink. If you guys have, I picked this up when we knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup this year. It's a really good energy drink. Gives you all the energy you need for laughing at your rivals, specifically in this flavor. This is laughing at Liverpool. And it comes in a lot of flavors. You might have seen some of them out in the stores. One of my favorites is 12:30 Kickoff. That's a good flavor. Paul Tierney is a cheat. That's a great flavor. Pitch is too wet. Pitch is too dry. Those are really good flavors. One of my favorites, the opponent's injuries made us play this way. All these energy drinks, Scouse Tears, are filtered through Jurgen's Klopp teeth too, by the way, to ensure maximum flavor. So get some of that. You might have seen their Legends series that came out as well. They had 2 Graham Souness inspired flavors. One was I Signed Ali Dia, and the other is Everything is Paul Pogba's Fault. Then they had 2 flavors inspired by Jamie Carragher, which the first one is I Like to Spit on Little Girls in the Car, and the second one being Lissandra Martinez is Too Short for the League. Good flavors. This flavor today, I break this one out. This is the I'm glad we didn't spend money on Euro because we have Kwanzaa flavor. Let me give that a shot, let you guys know what that tastes like. It's bitter, salty, but now I've got the energy. So get yourself a bottle of Scouse Tears. Remember, Scouse Tears, you'll always cry alone. Go grab you some. Thank you, Scouse Tears, for sponsoring this video today. Anyway, and the Kwanzaa stuff kills me too. And I honestly have seen this before. We don't need to sign them. We have Kwanzaa, right? Kwanzaa, who literally under no pressure played that square. If you remember when we played Liverpool, played that square but across his own half of the pitch, in his own half. Big no-no, by the way. You never play a square ball. This is one of my biggest frustrations with Casemiro. Everyone is digging the Scouse Tears. But yeah, Kwanzaa gave away that ball, which led to that. If you remember that Bruno goal, because Allison kind of came out because he didn't know what to do, and Bruno scored that long range chip shot. So the Kwanzaa that everyone says they're happy to have instead of Euro, that guy. So in that game, literally Kwanzaa had the same amount of assists for United in that game as Anthony did all last season. So big up Kwanzaa, you're a legend at United, my friend. So if you're just joining us, yes, we are reacting to the Leny Yoro official announcement from Manchester United. What we got here in the chat? Katie, the butthurt out there is crazy. Yeah, bro. Chow, we got a new guy. Chow, big up. We overpaid again. 62 million euros. No, it's not 60. Okay, you want to quote the 62 million euros. You can quote the 62 million euros. Again, it's 42 million pounds, 10 million in add-ons. So 52 million pounds altogether. And the add-ons are based on trophies. If we pay the add-ons, it's because we won trophies. And is anyone really going to care? No, not really. No one's going to care. And so I don't think we overpaid when you look at the fact that it's 42 million pounds. Let's look at what kind of players have been well over twice that. Jack Grealish, 100 million release clause. What has he done? Fred scored more goals than him in Grealish's first season at City. Where was Grealish last year? Grealish can't even drive himself to the training ground or the stadium because he's an alcoholic who gets car accidents and had his license taken away. What did Grealish do last year? Yeah, Grealish, 100 million pounds. We've had him for a couple years, and we already had to bring in Doku as well. And so Joshko Gvardiol, 100 million pounds for this guy, who was literally halfway responsible for that first goal that we scored against them in the FA Cup final. So 100 million pounds, who's basically a ghost all season last year. He showed up a little later on in the last couple months with a few goals here and then. But let's face it, was Joshko Gvardiol worth 100 million? No. Leny Yoro, generational talent, Ligue 1 team of the season last year, 18 years old. Everybody wanted him. We paid 42 million pounds. Not a big deal at all. And honestly, you'll not find a single Manchester United fan who was really that upset about the fee we paid. So I need some more Scouts tears. This guy's killing me. It's so bitter and so salty in every sip. So Leny Yoro, official United player. That's 2 first-team signings through the door. Hopefully they can join up with us for the rest of the preseason tour, get gelled in. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know, are you excited? Do you think he's going to be a starter? Do you think we're going to go for some more defenders? What other positions would you like to see us target? KD, talking to Chow here. I'll let you guys work that out. I got a couple of little miscellaneous announcements too. It's a short video today, not too bad, but like I said, I did want to stop by and make a point to share my thoughts and get your thoughts on the announcement. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, West Ham, talks are advanced. I know that we're holding out for something like 20 some odd million. West Ham are a little short. Talks are still ongoing. And so we'll see what happens there. Do you think that's a good move for us to make? I know West Ham were struggling. West Ham were a bit of a shambles last year, if I'm honest. Who's their right back? Soufal. They could probably upgrade. Does Wan-Bissaka suit them? Honestly, it doesn't really matter to me if he suits them because, I mean, we're not West Ham. But it's one of those things, again, like Scott McTominay, you sell a player, we have to replace them. It's just the way it is. We can't sell McTominay and not replace him. We can't sell Wan-Bissaka and not replace him. I know I mentioned yesterday that if we were indeed truthfully looking at Fenerbahce's left back Cardiolu, who was really good in the Euros, he's right-footed. He could play both left back and right back. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to maybe give that a try. But we'll see. I do think, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I think Wan-Bissaka we should be holding out for something like 25 million at least for Wan-Bissaka. It's not me thinking about recouping any money. It's me thinking like that's how much he's worth in today's market. And that's probably lowballing it. If you look at some of the fees, some of these players who no one's ever even heard of in the Premier League are going for, like, let's be honest, we can get that much for him. And others, you sound American. Yeah, I am American, Chow. I live in Michigan. I am an American United fan. Where are you from? Let me guys know where you're coming from. Yeah, and KD mentions Endrick. Yeah, Endrick is another one up there. Like, it is what it is. KD's feeling the jersey. What season was that? That's what range. This was back, I want to say this is either 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14. I don't remember off the top of my head. I have to go check. it's one of our like training tops. I like a lot of the training tops. If like the giveaways I was doing, some of those are training tops. I have quite a few of the training tops. So this is one of my favorites. I do like this a lot. So appreciate you from that. Chow is in California. Good deal. Danny B from Ireland, living in Boston. Last 15 years. Wow. Yeah. You mentioned that the other day. I remember I said I'd taken a trip to Falmouth once. I was looking at some old photos. It was at some resort called Surfside. So let me know if you've heard of that. Let me know if you know where Falmouth is. Probably do. I didn't get to go to Boston, Ohio. I have a lot of family in Boston, but I hung out in Falmouth pretty much for a week. Went to the Martha's Vineyard for a day, just hung out. A lot of good food out there. I do like the ocean. We like being by the ocean. I did a little bit of fishing while I was out there. So big up. Chow's been a United fan since 2000. Wow. Good deal, man. Another announcement that came out from the club today, United did announce that we have officially sold Mason Greenwood to Olympique Marseille. 26 million fee, 5 million add-ons, and a 50% sell-on. That 50% sell-on is a big deal. That's going to see us probably get another, we could get, if he does really well at Marseille and goes someplace like, I don't know, like a Barcelona or a PSG, we could probably almost double our money on Mason Greenwood realistically. He's still very, very young. He had a very good year at Getafe. He was their player of the season, their top scorer. So, you guys can have your thoughts on Mason Greenwood. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty on that, but he's, as far as where we are now, moving forward, it's profit. He's gone. We don't have to worry about it anymore. We don't have to deal with the craziness of all this anymore. The smaller circus that we can have maybe this season, the better. We've had to deal with so much crap the last couple of years, just nonstop. Something's going down at United, and it's so tiring. The only way I got through it was drinking my Scouse Tears energy drink. So let me check these. Cape Cod, nice spot. I worked down Falmouth a couple years back. Chow wants to know if I'm going to watch United preseason game for Arsenal. I'll probably watch the preseason games just to scope out some of the youngsters. I know, like I said the other day, a lot of people are getting frustrated with the result against Rosenborg. People have to remember, like, preseason is basically training. You're taking a look at the young players. Everybody's trying to get back up to match fitness, and then that's what it is. So I'm not too concerned about the results. I am eager just to see some of the youngsters, maybe get a glimpse at some of the new signings and whatnot. But I will be watching them because I watch entirely too much football, probably more football than any normal human being should, honestly. ESPN Plus kind of broke me because they have like all these random leagues on there that I've in. Like, I watch a lot of the Belgian league, obviously Eredivisie, Bundesliga is all on there. Championship, I watched a lot of Ipswich last season as well. It's too much. Like, my weekends is just football all day. Katie, I was shocked to learn that the rather low fee for Mason is the highest we've received for a player poster. Alex, yeah, we don't have, and this is a big part of why we are skint and why we have had some more loans in the last couple of years than we've ever had. It's just because of the ineptitude when it came to buying and selling players. We overpay, we pay too much of wages, and then we don't sell players. So Greenwood represents probably the best profit we've had since Ronaldo. Before Greenwood, the only profit that we've had was Dan James. And before Dan James was Cristiano Ronaldo. And that was back in 08, 09. Like, that is not good. These are the people that make the most important decisions at United who are making these kind of decisions. It's ridiculous. Chow, I do watch some La Liga, not a whole lot. Not a ton. Just sometimes when we're linked to players, or sometimes when there's players who are kind of starting to make a name for themselves, I'll try to make a point to go watch them. I watched a little more Atletico Madrid middle of the season last year after they signed Arthur Vermeeren from Royal Antwerp, because he's actually a really good midfielder. It was a shame he didn't get to play as much, but hopefully he'll get a few more minutes this season. He's still young, but he's a really good midfielder. So, and I was trying to catch a couple of Gironas just to watch this Gutierrez character after we were linked with him, just to see what all the fuss was about. So things like that. I don't tend to watch a whole lot of La Liga. I don't watch any of the French league. I don't get the channel at the French league. I don't really watch a whole lot of Portugal either, or Portuguese league. I catch some Argentina stuff, some Scottish stuff now and then. It's not like a priority for me though. I probably watched more of United's women's team last year than I watched of like the Scottish or La Liga or things like that. So Danny B, do you think McGuire and McTominay will leave if we accept the bid? I think that accepting the bid is part of it. Obviously, we have a price that we want, and it sounds like, both are up for sale. It's one of those things, like, everybody's got a price. I think that it's going to have a lot to do with the wages and what the players want. I think that McGuire and McTominay both like being at United. And obviously the sticking point last summer when West Ham came calling for Harry Maguire was the wages. He didn't want to lower his wages, which he's entitled to. I mean, and I'm not bashing Maguire at all. He's allowed to do that. He was fine when called upon. Can we improve on him? Yeah, definitely. Could he go to a team like a West Ham or something and start and do really well with the way they play, or like an Everton? Yeah, absolutely. And so the fan who wants our players to do well, even if that means going elsewhere, that's what I would want for him. Nicky Butt did it. Phil Neville did it. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think that if we can get money for McTominay, awesome. That's all profit. But again, we have to replace McTominay. So does that mean maybe we go back and grab Amrabat? Does that mean Rabiot for free and an Ugarte, and our midfield is stacked? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're moving crazy. Who knows? Anything's possible this summer. On Rabiot, though, there's some other news. Adrien Rabiot has been officially confirmed to be a free agent today. So he is available to go wherever he wants. It's one of those 50-50 things, right? Like, I think that he could be a good pickup for United for sure. He's experienced. He's won a lot of things. He's a really good midfielder. But at the same time, it's like David De Gea. People are saying, like, why didn't we keep De Gea? Why didn't you keep De Gea? Well, De Gea is still a free agent. And I'm not bashing De Gea. I'm just saying sometimes there's a reason that these players, like Rabiot, could have made an agreement back in January to go already, and nobody did that. And so there's reasons for that. I'm not saying I know that those reasons are negative. I'm just saying there's reasons for that. So we'll never know. But Rabiot is a free agent. Would you take Rabiot at United? Would you like him to come in and help bolster our midfield, maybe add a little experience? Or do you think that dealing with his agent is not worth the hassle? I don't know. His mom seems to have calmed down a little bit in the last few years. That stuff came out a while ago, so who knows? Danny B suggests giving Rabiot a 2-year deal with an option for a third. It's not a bad idea. What is he, 28, 29 now? Oops, just slipped off my chair a little bit. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it's great to get some young players, get your Yoros, your João Neveses, your Højlunds, all that. It's great that we've got that nice youth, but you need a balance of experience. You need the Brunos, you need the Maguires, the guys like the Ericssons, the Casemiros. You need those kind of players. Not only the players who are older, but the players who have won stuff, who know what it is to challenge, to make a push, to maintain, those things. That's why Arsenal have struggled the last couple of years, because they got all these young players, but they have zero experience with that title push and that resilience that is involved. They don't have that. They're getting it over the last year, especially, but they might have missed the boat. We got a new guy, Don Kroon. My father-in-law lives in France and watches all League One matches. He tells me Yoro is very good, insane potential, but he has still a huge crazy mistake in him once in a while. Says overall Todibo is better. Yeah, Todibo's older. What is he, 4 or 5 years older? So yeah, that's the one consistent thing about youth, young players, especially teenagers, they are inconsistent. We saw that from Alejandro Garnacho last season. It would kind of go up and down in waves. Menu hasn't yet shown like those severe dips. Menu to me has always been consistent. Yes, he's going to make a bad touch here and there. That's normal. So I'm not worried about mistakes. It is a little, obviously, being the defender, it's like being a keeper. If a striker makes a mistake and loses the ball, it's not as crucial, right? Because it's way high up the pitch. Goalkeeper makes a mistake, center back makes a mistake. Odds are it's going to mean you concede a goal. So it can and can't. I think that Yoro has shown, though, that he's got really good skills already for such a young age. And so I like what I see. What he has, you can't really teach. Ironing out those mistakes, you can teach. You can teach just by experience, getting years of experience, or just coaching. There are intangibles, and then there are tangibles. And I think that he has enough of the intangibles that you can't just be taught, that are just instinctual, natural, something he's born with. I think that is what you can work with really well. Imagine partnering that with some good coaching and some good experience, and what kind of player you'll have. Same with Menu. Danny B says Rabiot, Amrabat, Neves, Ugarte in, Erickson, McTominay, Casemiro, Hannibal out. Yeah, I always forget about Hannibal. He had some issues with his loan at Sevilla, didn't he? He was sitting out for a little while. He wasn't really quite. Hannibal to me has, and it's not personal or anything. I'm not saying he's a bad person. He's got that dog in him, but like not necessarily in the the coachable kind of moldable way. You know, he's just. We saw when he came on against Liverpool the other year, he was putting in tackles. He did not care. He was fighting everybody. Like, I get it, and we get passionate about that, but I think that he needs to temper that a little bit and work and focus a lot on his on the ball work as well. KD, when it comes to Rabiot, I'd rather just keep McSauce. I'm pro signing Amrabat instead. Ali says, run those likes, fam. It helps the channel. Yes, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, don't forget that like button, subscribe. We're kind of just chatting now. You know, we gave the big news if you're just joining about Leny Yoro. We're talking about some just little odds and ends. Some things are confirmed. You know, Greenwood has left. Wan-Bissaka to West Ham is in advanced talks, apparently. Rabiot is available for free now. He's a free agent. And then we'll move on a little bit more, and then we'll come back to the live chat. So we got some news from Plettigol today while we're talking about midfielders. Now, Plettigol is reporting that we're now moving on to the Ugarte transfer. We focus on Xerxes. We wanted Yoro, get that done before, you know, Madrid got too involved. And now we're switching our focus to Manuel Ugarte. We've been talking with that for a while. Sounds like Ugarte is keen on the move, and now we're ready to focus. Reportedly, he's eager to join United and be a part of this project too. So Ugarte could be pretty straightforward. Could be done before. Who knows? The way Ineos are moving, that could be done by the time I'm done with this stream. Who knows, man? Ineos are moving mad this summer. I'm up for it too. There's some fun news today regarding Dan Ashworth because, I mean, he's hard at work, but we got some stuff coming out from Duncan Castles today reporting that United only paid actually around $3 million to Newcastle for Dan Ashworth, which is basically what Newcastle paid Brighton for Dan Ashworth. So, oh, it's so funny. The haggling, the gardening leave, the independent body to come in and do this, the digging in the heels. They want 20 million. We don't think he's worth that. And then we saw all this stuff when we finally got it over the line. We saw all this big base, good stuff from Newcastle fans. All these Geordies out here saying, we bench you over the barrel. We got you. And then it comes out today that we paid basically what they paid. And no Newcastle fans are anywhere to be found. They freaking just shifted back into the foliage like Homer Simpson. I might have to, maybe I'll have to go pick up a case of Geordie Tears energy drink next. What do you guys think? Because these Newcastle fans that were talking all that good stuff a second ago, they just disappeared back into the woodwork. What do you guys think of that? That's funny. I laughed probably harder than I should when I read that, but that's because it's just Newcastle trying so hard in the last couple of years to just sit at the big kids table that it's just like, you're not going to. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not. It's just, you can't do it. You're done. It is what it is. Oh, see what you guys have to say in the comments. Ally wants to bring in Rabiot for free. Ally, do I want to win the UCL? Well, yeah, everybody wants to win the UCL, man. Who doesn't? We're not in the Champions League, so we'll have to wait at least a year to figure out if that's going to be a reality, but who never knows. Ally wants to bring some French players like Madrid. Madrid do have some French players. Who do they got there? I mean, Mendy has not really been great, honestly. So I don't know what he's going to mean. Do they have a whole lot of other French players at Madrid right now? I don't think so. I'm not a Madrid fan, though, so I don't know. KD, Ineos have made our club unrecognizable, right? I said that the other day. If Ineos aren't careful, they're going to turn us back into a properly run club. We might actually have a chance to do something. Obviously, the expectation, you know, after winning Carabao Cup, after winning the FA Cup, you know, what are your expectations for the upcoming season? Probably do a little bigger video on that towards the end of the transfer season, you know, maybe rating the transfer season, maybe trying to say, like, what are our expectations? What does success look like this season? Trying to keep it in context. It's not, you can't simply say to, let's say we signed these players, we spent this much, we have to win. That's not how it works. We've seen that that's just not how it works. So, oh, KD, haha, I became petty over the 2.7 million we paid for Ashworth when hunting on social media. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did put a tweet out earlier with that Homer Simpson meme, that GIF. It's just the way it is. I like get rid of the rappers. Camavinga. Oh yeah, that's right. You watch a lot more than I do. Yeah, they just get Mbappe. They got Tchouaméni. They got Camavinga. Forgot all those guys. I mean, Camavinga and Tchouaméni haven't have they played a ton? I don't remember seeing. I remember seeing Camavinga play more left back than anything. Camavinga to me hasn't looked super convincing since he went to Madrid. He's got his passing is just not great. He looked good in the final. I'll give him that. But his passing just wasn't really great. It wasn't impressive. But Chow says we still need to sign another defender, 2 midfielders, and right back, possibly left back. Hopefully, Delit, Ugarte are coming soon. Waiting for Ornstein Bamba again. Yeah, Ornstein has been on top of it. I like Ornstein. He's pretty objective. Like he doesn't let any sort of agenda kind of sway. He just talks about what's going on. Not like ESPN, not like Luckhurst. Mark Ogden can be a little anti-United sometimes. Even Jamie Jackson, who is a United fan and a really nice guy too. Like I said the other day, I ran into him outside in the Munich tunnel before the Crystal Palace match last fall. He's a nice guy, but even he can be pretty scathing of United, but he's even though he's a United fan, and so it's good to be objective. That's why I have nothing but time for Roy Keane, because Roy Keane just doesn't care. Roy Keane has zero sentiment. Roy Keane reminds me, when it comes to him talking about his former clubs, he reminds me of me cleaning out like the closets and stuff. I have zero sentiment. If I don't recognize something I see in the closet, like a piece of clothing or something, when I'm cleaning, it's going in the garbage because I don't need it anymore. It's done. Bring in Saliba. Ally wants to bring in everybody. Yeah. Ally likes Zaire Emery. Yeah, Zaire Emery is pretty good. Obviously, Luis Enrique, instead of playing Ugarte, a big signing for them, he decided to opt for Paulinho, who was very, very good, by the way, and Zaire Emery, another young player in midfield. They still have Fabian Ruiz at PSG as well. So who knows what PSG are going to do? It's interesting. And obviously, they're going to be looking for Mbappe replacements, but they did just spend big money last summer on Colomboane and Gonçalo Ramos, and so now there's already talks of them wanting another striker. Like they're gonna have to sell one of those strikers. Both of those strikers were big draws last summer, and they're not really doing much. I know Colomboane came on for France in the Euros and looked pretty lively, but what Gonçalo Ramos looked really good at Benfica hasn't really done it since joining PSG, and so it's hard to break into that attacking lineup at PSG with Mbappe, but maybe Barcola looks really good too. I really like Barcola a lot. But LA wants to sell Casemiro and McTominay and bring in Zubimendi. I like Zubimendi. I like him a lot. Spain are pretty deep as far as their quality and depth goes. Zubimendi is really good. I remember we were linked with him. Arsenal were linked with him a little while ago. I think it's pretty good. I think it depends on what you're looking for in a 6, right? Do you want a complementary player to like a Menu, who is a little bit more straight up defensive and will win the ball back and then find a teammate? Or do you want someone who's a little bit more of a ball progressor, like a Frankie de Jong? Or do you want someone who offers a little bit of both? Do you want someone who's a 9 out of 10 defensively or like a 7 out of 10 ball progressing? Or do you want someone who's like a 5, 6 out of 10 in both of those areas who can do a little of both? It's hard because people say 6, like a number 6, that can mean a lot of different things. I've spoken about before. To me, I look at numbers. The 6 is almost like 3 different categories. You've got your ball winners, like an N'Golo Kante. You've got your playmakers, like your deep playmakers, kind of like a Pirlo or something, or like a Frankie de Jong, or even like a João Neves, who's going to drop deep and pick the ball up. Or you've got like your holding midfielders, maybe like your Carricks or your Busquets, who are a really good center point to kind of get that ball, keep it ticking, who almost you don't even notice throughout the game because they're doing their job so well. And I think it's good that every team have a good mix of that as well. Oh, whoa, we got everybody going on here. What's your thoughts on Fabrizio Romano as a journalist, Chow? Is that what you're asking? Just what are my thoughts on him as a journalist? Or did he tweet something or something? Let me know. The future is the French. The French are stacked. Like even some of their defenders aren't even playing in the World Cup, but they're playing first team football, and they have for years at their clubs, who are stuck playing in like the U21 World Cup and whatnot, because France is just so stacked. It's ridiculous. They should be doing more than what they're doing. Honestly, they did not look great at the Euro, in my opinion. Like I said early on, I thought it was going to be between Spain or Germany. Obviously, Spain went on to win that. Chow says Saliba is going to Real Madrid in the next 2 seasons if Arsenal don't win the trophy this season. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting shout. I know Madrid are really going to need to revamp that defense. In my opinion, they've got all their defenders are older. And I'm not saying like they're old, like they're ancient, but Nacho's just left. Carvajal's older. Alaba's older and he's always injured. Rudiger's older. Mendy is older and looks like he might be on his way out. Militao is always injured. Like Madrid they're stacked in midfield. They don't need midfielders. They don't really need attackers. They should have gotten at least 2 defenders this season. But I'm not a Madrid fan. Doesn't really matter. I mean, KD, ESPN FC are demented. Watch them cover the Euro signing in their typical negative way. Focus on the cost, etc. Especially Craig. Yeah, Craig Burley. I don't really watch ESPN FC's coverage of anything. Craig Burley is he's ridiculous, man. Like the hate is so strong. It's embarrassing. What you got? Gutted about Elise. Yeah, it sounds like Ally wanted Elise. Chow wants to know what are my thoughts on Fabrizio Romano as a journalist. I mean, Fabrizio Romano clearly has a lot of connections. He is one of the first to report on a lot of things. So clearly he's in the know. He's well respected enough to have those connections and be in the know. So nothing wrong. And the guy works hard. Like the guy has, and this is the thing, people say he got popular and he's like so popular, he's got all this following. Yeah, but that just means more work, right? The success breeds expectation. You've got to maintain as a journalist, as a player, no matter what you're doing in life. Work hard, maintain, keep going, build that momentum. So I got nothing but time for Fabrizio Romano. He knows what he's doing. Ornstein's another good one. So he's a good guy. He seems like he's a nice guy. He seems like he's got connections. He's willing to jump on fan channels and whatnot and talk to people. So Fabrizio, if you want to jump on here and hang out, man, we don't even have to talk football, man. We can just chat. You just let me know. Hit me up. Katie, Ali Manny was a very, very special player, totally different gravy. We haven't even seen anything yet. Can't wait to see him develop and fulfill his potential. Yeah, like you can tell sometimes with these young players, just especially the players like Manu who maybe haven't physically fully developed. And this is one of the things when I did like talent ID courses and things and scouting courses and stuff, like you look at these young players, you almost have to imagine, what kind of difficulties and what kind of, development they're going to have as they physically change over the years and stuff. Like, are they going to be able to maintain? You guys ever watch the first Captain America movie? He's very, very scrawny, and then he gets, the serum, and he's big, and he's chasing down that spy, and he's like, he runs around the corner, but he's not used to his body, so he like runs into a store and breaks through the window. That's kind of what you get sometimes with these young players when they go from, this physical development, when they go to getting muscles. Like it might take time for their body. You might even see some of these players adjust the way they play sometimes, the style of play that they do because of that. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Kobe Manu. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Leny Yoro, some of these other players as they physically develop, not only as they develop, in the actual footballing side of things. So Manu is great. And you know how I feel about midfielders who can carry the ball. Like if you can carry the ball, keep the ball at your feet without having to just pass it whenever you get it, I have nothing but time for that. And Manu, we saw that with England. The dude gets the ball, and it's all it takes. And it's the less is more mentality. All Manu does when you see him oftentimes, it's just a little drop of the shoulder, a little shimmy here, a false step, and he's gone. He's got the space and he takes it. It's just the way it is. Like, and that is almost invaluable. It's worth its weight in gold, that kind of skill, especially as a young midfielder. So when you take that, add another 3-4 years to that, and imagine what Manu is going to be doing. Probably, this isn't me just being biased or anything, and this isn't anti-Pogba because I like Paul Pogba and no problems with him. What I've seen from Manu makes me think that he could be better than prime Paul Pogba, in all honesty. Let me know your thoughts. Am I talking mad? Am I onto something? Let me know. So that's pretty much it for the video. Like I said, it turned into a longer video. It was meant to be a shorter video, but I got no problem chatting with you guys in the live chat and hearing your thoughts and getting everything. So Ali says the French coach is too defensive. Everybody got a little defensive after that group stage in the Euros, didn't they? That final was one of the most boring matches I've seen, man. And that's Gareth Southgate reverting to type, going back to true Southgate. I mean, it's not a coincidence that he resigned, which is a fancy way of saying he got sacked. But yeah, everybody started taking their foot off the gas a little bit. Everybody got a little too scared going into that. And so you can't really afford to do that in single elimination like these knockout matches. You need to just go for it because you don't get second chances. This isn't like the league where you're like, okay, we drop points here. Where can we make up points there? You can't do that. You just simply can't. And so this is why, Jose Mourinho was heavily linked with the England job, because Jose Mourinho is good in these single one-off matches. He knows what he needs to do to win, even if it's boring, but he's going to do it. Ali wants DeMarco. I like DeMarco a lot. I really, really do. I don't, like he says he doesn't trust Shaw. I don't trust Shaw's injury record. I don't know if Malacia is going to be ready for a little while. Malacia might not be ready till late fall, early winter, in terms of just full match fitness. Shaw, I was half looking from that final, because I was like, if Luke Shaw pulls a hamstring, I'm going to lose my shit. Thankfully, he didn't, and he looked really good. So a fit and firing Luke Shaw is only good for us, because a fit and firing Luke Shaw is one of the best left backs in Europe, honest to God. He really, really is. But he's just never fit. So let me read a couple more of these live chats. I'm going to wrap it up, folks. I'm gonna full screen it, because I love you guys that much. Katie wants to know, in your opinion and experience, what's the best way to manage growing kids? As in, how would one manage a player like Yoro, given that he's only 18 and still growing? Difficult. I'm not a manager. I'm not a coach, so my input would be limited. And it's really, some of it's going to have a lot to do with the individual player's personality too. If you look at, like, when I answer some of this, I have to look at what some of the really good coaches have done, like Fergie. Like, what would he do with individual players? And he really looked at them as individual players. It wasn't necessarily always a blanket approach for everybody. Sometimes everyone's a little different. It's the same if anybody's a parent out there or a teacher. You can have like a set of house rules, right? But each of your children, because they're so different, that you almost treat them a little differently in some ways. Not better or worse, just differently, because you have to. And so it's really, I don't know enough about Euro's personality, how he responds to certain things, to give an answer necessarily. I think it's a matter of just and like Sir Jim has said, and like Ten Hag and all these other guys have said, it's about putting them in the best environment to help with them, having good coaches around them, making sure the team is supportive of each other, accountable, like, critical of each other when necessary, but supportive of each other, putting them in, utilizing their skills, challenging them to work on their weaknesses, because you're looking to develop. You're not just looking to put them in there and then let them do their thing. You're looking to make them better. And so do you have the staff and the personnel around you? Do you have a good medical staff to take care of them, to handle them, to make sure that they're being proactive with their physical health and their medical issues, and not just playing defense all the time? Are we making sure that we're maintaining that physical side of things, so we're not picking up random little niggly injuries as well? Are you checking in terms of just their personal life outside of football? What's going on, having any issues, having like kind of open door receptive policy, keeping an eye, not like intrusively, like privacy related, but like just who are they surrounding themselves with? Is their agent, talking to them like what's best for them? Is their agent causing problems? Obviously, remember some agents from some of our former players were not great people in some ways. Things like that. Are they surrounding themselves with people who have their best interest in mind, and not just people who are trying to get something out of them, not people who are just telling them what they want to hear and not what they need to hear all the time? This is all important, and I wish I had more of a definitive answer. It's just really difficult to have one, unfortunately. I just know as a mental health professional how important all that is on a global kind of holistic level, because all of that makes us who we are, right? All the little areas that I mentioned. And so, long way of answering without actually answering. I hope that is a good enough answer, though. Chow, last question. Did you watch NFL? I used to watch NFL a while. I don't anymore. I tried to watch it a little bit this season with the playoffs, because I live in Michigan, so the Detroit Lions, who typically aren't great, made it to like the playoffs, right? And so I was like, well, maybe I'll watch a couple of these playoffs games so I have something to talk about with my friends. My problem is I'm too spoiled watching football, like European football, which you can set your watch by, right? It's 45 minutes, no commercials, no breaks, 15 minutes, then 45 minutes. You watch an NFL game, it's literally 3 seconds and then a commercial, and then 3 seconds and then a commercial. A game that should be, it's 60 minutes of playing with like a half hour, so it should be an hour and a half, is literally 3 hours long. And I get so impatient with that. I can't handle the commercials every couple seconds. I remember reading a stat a few years back. I can't remember off the top of my head, so don't quote me, but it was looking at how much time in an NFL game, on average, like they're actually playing and not like commercials or stopping or whistleblowing. And it was like 6-7 minutes, like total. Like it was ridiculous. I can't watch that. It's too much stop and go, and it's worse when you go to an NFL game because at home you're on commercials, you're doing this. At the NFL game, you're just sitting in the stands while there's a commercial going on. You have no idea. You're just sitting there, and then things start. It's super frustrating. But I used to. I don't anymore. But in the long story short, college football is bigger where I am in Michigan. U of M, Michigan State. Ann Arbor's not that far, so I've gone over to some of those International Champions Cup games when like United was here versus Madrid. When Madrid played Chelsea, my buddy's a big Madrid fan. His brother's a Chelsea fan, so we went to that one. It's not that far. It's a big stadium. The U of M stuff is, and Michigan State stuff is a big rivalry. It's a huge deal. Chow says Shaw is done for me. Need to be sold in the next 2 seasons. Everyone on sale, 50% off, says Ally. It's not that easy. I wish it were that easy just to sell players, right? I wish it were like FC24 where you can just say add to transfer list and the offers start coming in. It's not. Again, personality plays a role. That's maybe, if you have a troublesome player, sometimes clubs are not really keen to bring them in. Wages that we pay are a big sticking point. Obviously, that was a big sticking point for Maguire, Sancho as well. Like, De Gea, nobody wanted to buy De Gea. He's a free agent now. Transfer fee, when you pay a high transfer fee because you're awful at transfers like we did for Maguire, you're gonna want to recoup some of that, and it's difficult to do that all these factors play. Obviously, we've got some interest in Maguire, we've got some interest in McTominay, interest in Lindelof potentially going to Turkey, interest in Wan-Bissaka. So we have interest. Greenwood was just sold, Kempwala just left as well. Both of those players are all profit, so that's what, 30 million instantly, basically, plus potential for another couple of years down the line, especially with that sell-on clause for both. So I wish, obviously there are a lot of players I would sell, but it's a process. Sir Jim a couple months ago when he did an interview said it was going to be like 3 years, the kind of rebuild that you're going to need to see, and it is what it is. They've been kind of doing that audit and looking at everything from the training ground all the way up to the IT department, apparently, if you remember all that business, and they've seen a lot of lavish, unnecessary waste going on. They've seen a lot of unprofessionalism going on. So nobody's safe. I think a lot of people are up for sale, obviously, except for some of these younger players and obviously some of the players we just signed recently. But we'll see what happens. I think that's going to be it for me today. But yeah, Leny Yoro officially announced by Manchester United. Big coup. Not as expensive as the media or rival fans will lead you to believe. £42 million, £10 million plus add-ons, which are trophy based. So that means we win trophy if we spend, another 10 million, which is not bad. So that to me is a bargain for someone like as the quality of Leny Yoro. And let's say even if he does flop or doesn't look great, or even if let's say the worst case scenario, he flops. It's not going to be a huge loss. Best case scenario, he does well and wants to stay. Second best scenario, he does well, and in 3 or 4 years, Madrid come calling and he wants to go to Madrid. We're going to make a ton of money on Leny Yoro in that regard. So it's not that bad. 42 million is a great deal for someone like Leny Yoro. But let me know your thoughts. If you're not able to join for the live, it's been great. The chat's been awesome. Love it. You can still leave a comment in the video after the fact. Like that video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like and subscribe to the channel. If you are new, appreciate that. The channel has been growing. I love to see it. Let's go. Let's get on that road to like 500 subscribers and let's see it go, guys. I appreciate all the love, all the support, all the interactions. Some of the new faces today. Chow. Good to see you, man. Who was the other guy? Dane. Is that what his name is? That's how you say your name, Dane? Danny B, KD, everybody, Ally jumping in. I appreciate you guys, the usual suspects. KD's really buzzing with the 2 new signing. Wasn't even over Xerxes, then boom, Yoro. And KD giving love to the new members. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate KD for jumping in as a mod. I will be back, obviously, when we get some more news. Summer's usually a little slower just because not a whole lot's going on, but when the big news pops up, I will be here to get my thoughts, but more importantly, to get your thoughts and see what you guys think. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Big up all you subscribers, everyone. Big up KD in the mod. Big up everybody in the chat. And I will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy your evening. Later.